Today we are going to be looking at Isaac and Abraham. Well, if you don't know, Isaac was a son to Abraham that Abraham received in his old age. Well, there are things that happened in Abraham's life that were reincarnated, or you could say they happened again in Isaac's life when Isaac became about the same age as his father, or the same period of time as his father when these things happened in his father's lifetime. Well, let's just go straight to it. When Abraham lived his life on earth, he was a very blessed man. The Bible calls him extremely blessed. He was extremely rich in cattle, rich in everything. Everywhere he went, his riches superseded the riches of the kings of the lands where he dwelt. He was a mover. He could pitch his tent when the Lord tells him to stop, and he would move when the Lord tells him to move. That was the life of Abraham. Or you could say that was the life of all their lineage up to the time when they reached the promised land. Now, the story we're going to be looking at today of Abraham is, you can find it in Genesis chapter 20. Now, Abraham came in his journey, he dwelt in the land of the Philistines. But before they decided to settle in the land of the Philistines for the time being, Abraham came up with this brilliant idea and decided to lie that Sarah, the wife of Abraham, is his sister. Because in his mind he said, my wife is very beautiful. These Philistines will look at her and then they will kill me so that they can get her to be the wife. So he told Sarah, let's just say you are my sister. So while he settles in the land of the Philistines, Abraham tells everybody, Sarah is my sister. So one day, while King Abimelech was going about his business, King Abimelech was the king of the Philistines. He took all the way up to Gerar. So King Abimelech saw that Sarah was very beautiful and he fancied her. So Abimelech sent for Sarah to be one of his wives, and Sarah was picked and taken to the palace. So now Sarah comes to the palace as one of Abimelech's wives to be, but Abimelech had not yet consummated with Sarah. The hand of the Lord came heavily on the Philistines, and they got punished for keeping Abraham's wife. The whole household of Abimelech, everyone, the servants, all the maids that worked in the palace, they were all struck with barrenness. And it went on for a long time. Now, the hand of the Lord was ready to strike Abimelech. And God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him, what have you done? Why did you take the man's wife? Don't you know that this man is a priest of God? He's my priest. He's anointed. And so Abimelech said, well, God, the man himself told me this was my sister. Are you going to strike? I'm innocent in this. I have not slept even with a woman, and this woman the man presented her as a sister. Are you going to strike the innocent? I'm innocent in this. And the Lord told him, the reason you're not yet dead is because you haven't slept with her. But you have to return this woman to her husband and pray that the husband prays a blessing over you. So Abimelech the next morning calls for Abraham and say, what have you done to me? We treated you well when you came to settle in this land. Why then did you cause such trouble upon our house, our land? And Abraham said, well, I thought you people will kill me if you found out that she was my wife. Abimelech told him, why did you lie and posed off with your wife as if your wife is your sister? Now you've brought a curse upon my household. Is this how you repay me for how well we have treated you in our land? Abimelech took goats and sheep to Abraham and then asked Abraham to pray for a blessing upon him. Abraham prayed for a blessing. Abimelech also, along with all these gifts, restored Sarah back to Abraham. After Abraham prayed for a blessing upon Abimelech, God shifted the curse he had placed upon Abimelech's household, and Abimelech's wife got pregnant, and also the servants in the household of Abimelech were able to bear kids again. Now you see, the thing is, Abraham came, did this thing, but years later, after time had passed, Isaac did the exact same thing, the exact same situation. So many years later, while Abraham still dwelt in the land of King Abimelech, Abraham is blessed with a child. He gives birth to Isaac. That was after Ishmael. You can read that story of Abraham's birth in the book of Genesis. You can find it in Genesis. Right after Genesis, after Abraham blesses Abimelech, the next chapters, they talk about Abraham's child, Ishmael. So let's fast forward to Isaac. Now, Abraham has given birth to Isaac while in that land. They stayed there many, many years, and Abraham became more and more blessed. Abraham kept traveling, and at this time, he was now dwelling in the valley of Gerar, in the land of Gerar. Still, Abimelech took Gerar, but the valley of Gerar was a little, you could say, not right in the center of the land of the Philistines. So Abraham was dwelling there. And Abraham dug a well. In his lifetime, according to Bible scholars, Abraham dug about 8 wells during the time. So at this point, each well Abraham would dig, the servants of Abimelech would fight over it, and Abraham would leave it to them. Now, Abraham had dug a well, and the Philistines had filled it had strove over it and took it. So Abraham moved further away. When he moved further away, God blessed him even more. Now, when Abimelech heard of how blessed Abraham had become, Abimelech and Pichol was the captain of the army. Let me confirm that. It's actually Pichol. Yes, Abimelech and Pichol. Pichol was the chief captain. So Abimelech and Pichol, they came to Abraham. When Abraham saw them, he wondered why they were there. Then Abimelech said, well, we've come to make peace. Today we want to make a treaty that you will not treat us harshly. We treated you well while you were in our land. So we are here to make peace with you so that you will not, because we see how well you are blessed. You can read that in Genesis chapter 21 from verse 22. So when Abraham had this, he agreed to make peace with them. Then Abraham confronted Abimelech about his servants. He said, I dug a well, and your servants took my well. And Abimelech said, well, I don't know of this. I've never heard of it. In fact, you're the very first person to tell it to me. This is not something I've heard before. But it doesn't mean he did anything about it. He didn't do anything about it. So what Abraham did, Abraham went ahead in the valley of Gerar and dug another well. And this time he called the well, he got gifts, 7 ewe lambs, and sent them to Abimelech. When Abimelech saw them, he said, what meanest thou? What do you mean by this? And Abraham said, well, I want these to be the witness between you and me that I have dug this well. And Abimelech took the gift. Then Abimelech went on his way back to the land of the Philistines. So Abraham named that well Bethsheba. Now that is Abraham's life. Abraham dwelt so many years, but also kept moving. You know, as I told you, they kept moving. Now let's fast forward. You can continue the story by yourself, but I'm just going to fast forward to Isaac. Now Isaac is born. Isaac is now a grown man. His father has died a long time ago. Isaac is married to Rebekah. Isaac is traveling to the Philistines. As they move around, like now we are repeating this story, but this time around it's the son taking almost the same exact footsteps years after his father is long gone. Now, Isaac travels to the land of the Philistines, and while he's coming to the land of the Philistines, he tells Rebekah, well, don't tell them you're my wife, tell them you're my sister. Does that sound familiar? Oh yeah. So he tells them, he tells everybody in the land of the Philistine that, oh, she's my sister. And Rebecca does the same, says, oh, I'm his sister. Because Isaac was afraid because Rebecca is so beautiful that they'll kill him and take the wife. Does that sound familiar? Sure does. So while he dwelt, and what shocked me a little bit in this situation is the fact that the king was Abimelech. I still think it is the same Abimelech at the time of Abraham, or could it be it was the son of Abimelech? That is not extremely ironed out. But as we go further, I have more reasons to actually believe it was still the same king, Abimelech, long after Abraham had passed. The same king who was present at the time of Abraham, still the same king at the time of the son, when the son comes back to seek refuge in the land of the Philistines. So one day, while Abimelech is going about his business, he sees from afar how Isaac and Rebekah were all lovey-dovey. And Abimelech perceived that, indeed, this man deceived me. This is not his sister. This is his wife. This time, it did not happen like how it did on Abraham's time when he called unto the wife and all that. So this time round, Abimelech calls Isaac and tells him and asks him, why did you pay me in such a grievous way? Well, I'm paraphrasing the words. You can go read them together, exact words he used. Why did you pay me like this? We treated you well in our land. We welcomed you. We've treated you well. Why then did you lie? What would have happened if one of my men got a hold of your wife and took her for a wife? Because you declared her to be your sister, and she's clearly not your sister. And Isaac, you know that same story, right? Goes, oh yeah, I was afraid, and I had to lie the same way. It happened at Isaac's time, and here it is. It happened at Abraham's time. Here it was happening again, but in the son's time, long after the father had passed on. Well, long story short, Abimelech lets him off the hook for this, but also Abimelech passes a decree. What I love most about this, Abimelech had learned his lessons from Abraham and he knew better. So Abimelech made a decree and said, if any man in my land touches this man or his wife, that man will be put to death. Abimelech swore to protect them. So they dwelt peacefully in the land. But then Isaac became more and more blessed, that his riches were enormous, that Abimelech got threatened, said, this man is becoming too rich in this kingdom. What if he connives with the enemy? Well, Abimelech came to Isaac and said, please, we will need you to move away from this land, move away from us, because you've become so rich and you are a threat to us. Now, when Abimelech asked Isaac to leave them, Isaac went and dwelt in Gerar, in the valley of Gerar. Does that sound familiar? Sure does, right? Well, remember Abraham did the same, stayed there. So while Isaac was there, Isaac dug the first well. He called it Esek. When he dug this well, the servants of the Philistines, that is, aka Abimelech's servants, came and strove for the well. When the servants of the Philistines, when Abimelech's servants strove for the well Esek, Isaac named it Esek and left it for them. Now Isaac dug another well, and again the servants of the Philistines, the Abimelech's servants, strove for the well, and Isaac left them the well, and he named it Sitnah. So when they strove for that second well too, Isaac left it to them, and he named it Sitnah. The Philistines envied Isaac so much. Isaac would sow and reap 100 folds. Talk about never making losses. During this time, the Philistines had filled all the wells that Abraham had dug with dirt. Isaac redug all the wells that his father had dug and gave them the same names as Abraham had given them during the time. So when the Philistines would get jealousy of Isaac's prosperity, what they would do is cover with dirt the wells that his father had dug. Isaac moved further and he dug another well. This time, they did not strive for this well. So Isaac named this well Rehoboth, and he said, "Now the Lord has made room for us. We shall dwell here, and we shall be blessed." You remember even when Abraham made a well in Beersheba, and it was the Philistines did not strive for it. Abraham did the same thing. He worshipped God and made an altar there. Years later, when Isaac felt peace and settled in this land, when he made the well Rehoboth, which they didn't strive over, he made an altar there and worshipped God. And during that time, Isaac became very blessed, settled in, and he continued to be blessed of God. He grew, and all his servants were blessed too. Now, Abimelech hears of how blessed Isaac is in the valley of Gerar. Abimelech, with Pichol, the chief captain of his army, took a journey and came to visit Isaac in Gerar. We remember still it was during the time of Abraham, it was Abimelech and Pichol, the chief army. So that makes me believe probably we are still talking about the same king and the same chief army. Probably they lived longer than Abraham did, to the point that now they were still alive at the time of Isaac's son. Well, so it's either that or it's their successors with the same exact name. Well, the Bible doesn't give details of that. It's just my curiosity. Well, Abimelech and Pichol, the chief army, they take the journey. They come to the valley of Gerar. And when Isaac saw them, he said, "Why are you here? You chased me from your land. You hate me. Why are you here?" I like how he was straightforward, It was like, "You hate me. That's how good that you hate me, right?" So Abimelech said, "No, we are here to make peace. We know that the hand of God is upon you. We know that you're a blessed man. And while you were still in our land, we treated you well. We took care of you and your property. Now we are here to make peace. Make a vow to us that you will not turn on us and kill us with our people, now that you are highly blessed and the hand of God is upon you." Literally the same thing that happened during the time of Abraham is now happening to Isaac. Isaac made a feast for them, and they made peace, and they went on their way. So during the time, Isaac's servants came and told Isaac, "We have found a well." Isaac went and named that well Sheba. Since that time to this day, the Bible says that that city is still called Bathsheba. That's the same well that Abraham dug after he made peace with Abimelech, and he named it Bathsheba. It's the same well these Isaac's servants found, and they renamed it the same name. So what I want to draw out here for us, your life here is not invisible. What you do, the decisions you make, they matter. You are writing a legacy for your future generation. You are writing footstools for your future generation. You can choose to deliberately change some things if you discover there were decisions that your parents made that were not good. Make better decisions and help your future generation to have a better slate going forward. What you do here, it's not in vain. Your life is not insignificant. It's not just about you. What the decisions you make, your generations after you will make in years to come. So that's just to remind you, let's be mindful of how we live our life. Let's make better decisions. Let's think of those who will live years after us. Let's make decisions that will give them a good life, glorify God, and allow God to continue to dwell in their lifeline. Well, that's it for today. You can let me know what stood out for you or what you learned, because I could see it from this side of the corner and you could see it from the other side of the corner. Well, we can learn from each other. That's it in today's video. I'll see you again tomorrow, next time, or whenever. Ciao!